Welcome back, everybody. Today we're taking a deep dive into Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, it's a book that's helped a lot of people kind of reignite that creative spark, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know you mentioned wanting to unlock your own creative potential.
hmm
So I think this one's going to be a really, really interesting one for you.
I think so too.
What's so interesting to me about The Artist's Way is Cameron's idea that everyone is an artist.
Yeah, and that's kind of the foundation of the whole book, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
That, regardless of your background or experience, everyone is an artist.
I struggled with that for a long time.
You do.
I thought that artists were, you know, the people painting the beautiful paintings or playing music.
Right, yeah.
And I just worked with spreadsheets.
Yeah, like the real artists were the ones who went to art school or something.
Totally, totally.
But Cameron really challenges that assumption.
She does, yeah.
I love how she uses examples from all sorts of fields that you wouldn't normally think of as artistic.
Yeah, what are some of those?
Well, she talks about scientists. They have to be creative to design experiments.
Oh, that's a good point.
And she talks about entrepreneurs
Mhm.
needing creativity to solve problems.
Yeah, even just like parents
Oh, and
trying to keep their kids entertained.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
So, okay, we all have this creative spark,
we do.
but how do we fan the flames? How do we get it going?
Well, she introduces this idea of morning pages,
Okay,
which is essentially just like a brain dump first thing in the morning.
okay.
3 pages, longhand stream of consciousness.
So just whatever comes out.
Exactly. And it's not about, creating this beautiful prose.
Right.
It's about just like getting all the mental clutter out.
I resisted that so hard at first.
Oh, tell me about it.
I was like, 3 pages of whatever, that's a lot.
It's intimidating.
But you know what? I stuck with it.
hmm
And something shifted.
Really?
Yeah, I actually started to see things more clearly.
Wow.
Or-
So it worked.
It really did. It
Oh.
was wild. And there's actually research that supports this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, studies have shown that expressive writing, like morning pages, can reduce stress
Uh-huh.
and improve mental well-being,
Interesting.
which then makes space for creativity.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's not just Cameron saying this.
Right.
There's evidence to support it.
That's cool.
Okay, so morning pages, that's like our internal exploration.
Yeah.
But what about getting out there in the world and getting inspired?
Well, that's where artist dates come in.
Okay, tell me about artist dates.
So Cameron calls these adventures in replenishing,
I love that.
and they're all about just intentionally seeking out inspiration.
Okay.
And they have to be solo.
Oh no, fighting your best friend along.
No, this is a solo mission.
Okay.
It's about giving your inner artist uninterrupted time and space
I like that.
to connect with the world.
So what are some examples of artist dates?
Well, Cameron gives tons of examples in the book.
Yeah.
She talks about going to a museum exhibit that you know nothing about,
Mm.
taking a nature walk, just browsing a bookstore.
So it can be anything.
Yeah, the key is to choose something that feels like a mini adventure for your soul.
It's so funny because I used to think of fun as watching TV.
Right, something passive.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But the artist date concept made me realize that fun is something I can actively choose.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I can actually schedule it.
You can and you should.
And the things that seem least appealing sometimes turn out to be the most inspiring.
That's so true.
Yeah, totally. So, okay, we're doing our morning pages, we're going on artist dates.
Right.
But what about that little voice in our head?
Oh, you mean the inner critic?
Yes, the inner critic.
Mhm.
It always pops up when I'm trying to be creative.
Yeah, that's so common.
It's the worst.
So Cameron actually doesn't suggest ignoring it or trying to silence it completely.
Oh, really?
She offers techniques for reframing those negative thoughts.
Oh.
It's about recognizing when that voice pops up and consciously choosing to replace those criticisms with more supportive messages.
So being your own cheerleader instead of your own worst enemy. I
Exactly.
remember this one technique where you create a list of positive affirmations.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, to combat those negative thoughts.
It's all about building new mental habits, right?
Totally.
And focusing on encouragement and self-compassion.
It's like training your inner voice to be more supportive.
Exactly. And that's so important for unlocking creative potential.
Yeah, because when you're constantly battling self-doubt,
Right.
it's hard to be creative.
It blocks the flow.
Totally. Now, the artist's way focuses a lot on individual practice.
Mm-hmm.
But Cameron also talks about the importance of community.
She does.
Surrounding yourself with other artists and creative people.
Yeah, she believes that artists thrive when they have a supportive network.
Yeah.
To share their work and exchange ideas and offer encouragement.
And speaking of community, I just have to say, our listeners are amazing.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring to hear from them,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's comments or on social media. It's just so motivating to know we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
It reminds me that we're not alone
Yeah,
in facing the challenges and celebrating the breakthroughs, you know?
definitely.
And Cameron actually encourages readers to form or join artist groups.
She does.
She really emphasizes that creativity doesn't have to be a solitary pursuit.
Right.
It's like having a team of cheerleaders who understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
They can offer feedback and support.
And sometimes just a listening ear.
Yeah, when that inner critic gets a little too loud.
Exactly.
And there's research to support this too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, belonging to a supportive community can increase motivation and resilience.
Uh-huh.
And even creative output.
So it's not just a nice to have.
No.
It's actually crucial for creative growth.
Okay, so we've got these great tools from Karen.
Right.
Morning pages for clearing the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Artist dates for finding inspiration.
Yeah.
And the power of community to keep us going.
Absolutely.
But let's be honest.
Okay.
Even with all that, we're still going to feel stuck sometimes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like creativity isn't always easy.
It's not a linear path.
No, there are going to be ups and downs.
Peaks and valleys.
Exactly.
Moments of flow and moments of, well, creative constipation.
That's a good way to put it.
So what's important is how we navigate those challenging moments.
Right. So what does Cameron suggest we do when we hit those roadblocks?
Well, she encourages us to embrace the resistance.
Okay.
Oftentimes when we're feeling blocked, it's because fear is lurking beneath the surface.
Fear.
Yeah, fear of failure, fear of
Mhm.
judgment,
Oh, yeah?
maybe even fear of our own potential.
Fear of our own potential. That's an interesting one.
It is, isn't it?
Why would we be afraid of that?
Well, sometimes when we start to tap into our true creative potential,
Okay.
it can feel really overwhelming.
I can see that.
It challenges our self-image.
Mm-hmm.
It forces us to step outside of our comfort zone. Right?
And that can be scary.
It's like, what if we actually succeed?
Exactly.
What if we create something truly remarkable?
It can be both exciting and terrifying.
Yeah.
But that's where the real growth happens, right?
Yeah.
When we push past those fears and embrace the unknown.
And Cameron reminds us that we're stronger than our fears.
She does?
You know, the rewards of creative expression, they far outweigh the risks.
Absolutely.
It's about trusting ourselves, trusting the process,
Mm-hmm.
and having faith in our own unique journey.
Beautiful.
And I love how Cameron emphasizes self-compassion.
Oh, me too.
You know, like treating ourselves with kindness and understanding.
But especially when we're struggling.
Yes, especially when we're struggling.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in self-criticism.
Oh, yeah.
You know, our culture glorifies perfectionism.
Right.
And we're constantly told we need to achieve more, do more, be more.
It's exhausting.
But Cameron reminds us that it's okay to make mistakes.
Mm.
It's okay to experiment.
Yeah.
It's okay to be messy and imperfect. It's part of the process.
It's like giving ourselves permission to play,
Exactly.
to explore, to be beginners again.
And that takes the pressure off so much.
It does.
Yeah.
It allows us to just enjoy the act of creating for its own sake.
That's what it's all about.
And you know what's funny? I used to think of creativity as this serious, solitary endeavor.
Yeah.
But the more I explore these ideas, the more I realize it's actually about reconnecting with that childlike sense of wonder
Yeah.
and playfulness.
It's about tapping into that inner child
Totally.
and letting them loose.
And when we do that,
Yeah.
it spills over into all areas of our lives.
Absolutely.
Our relationships, our work, our communities.
This ripple effect.
So to wrap up this part of our deep dive into the artist's way,
Yeah.
what are some key takeaways that are resonating with you?
Well, what really stands out to me is the reminder that creativity is not a luxury. It's a necessity.
That's a good point.
It's essential for our well-being, our growth, our ability to connect with ourselves and the world around us.
I love that.
And the best part is it's available to all of us.
Yes.
It's not about having some special talent or skill.
Mhm.
It's about recognizing that creative spark within ourselves
Yeah.
and nurturing it with intention and care.
So well said. The artist's way provides this incredible roadmap for that journey
It
of
does.
self-discovery and creative awakening.
It's about tapping into that source of energy, inspiration, and innovation,
That's within all of us.
and allowing it to flow through every area of our lives.
I agree. And that's a powerful message.
It is.
It's about reclaiming our creative birthright
Mm-hmm.
and embracing the transformative power of our own imaginations.
And the journey starts with a single step.
Well said.
One of the things that really stood out to me from before
Yeah.
was how Cameron emphasizes the importance of permission in the creative process.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so many of us think that creativity is only for a select few, that we need some kind of special talent or qualification to be an artist.
It's like we've been told to stay in our lane.
Exactly.
Stick to the practical stuff.
Well-
Leave the art to the gifted ones.
But Cameron says, no way.
Yeah,
It's our birthright to be creative.
I love that.
She gives us permission to reclaim that part of ourselves.
That we've maybe ignored or been told to suppress.
Exactly. And what I love about The Artist's Way
Yeah.
is that it doesn't prescribe a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
It's a framework,
Mhm.
a set of tools and practices that you can adapt to fit your own creative journey.
It's about finding what works for you.
Exactly.
Experimenting, being open to new discoveries.
Absolutely. And speaking of discoveries,
Yeah.
I was so fascinated by Cameron's discussion of synchronicity.
Oh my gosh, me too.
When I read that section, I was like, is she talking about me?
I know, right?
She talks about how when we engage with our creativity more intentionally,
Mm.
we start to notice all these meaningful coincidences.
It's like the universe is conspiring to help us.
Right, like you're working on a project
Mhm.
and suddenly you stumble upon a piece of information or a conversation.
Or a random event.
Yeah, that's perfectly aligned with what you're exploring.
It's crazy.
It is, and there's actually research on this.
Really?
Yeah, some psychologists believe it's a function of our selective attention.
Okay.
Like as we become more focused on something,
Mhm.
we're more likely to notice things related to it.
So we're priming our brains to see those connections.
Exactly.
But it still feels magical.
It does, doesn't it?
Like maybe there's something more to it.
Well, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Whether it's psychological or something more mystical, synchronicity can be incredibly inspiring.
It is.
It reminds us we're not alone on this creative journey.
Totally.
Like there are forces beyond ourselves that are supporting us.
It's like a wink from the universe.
Exactly.
Saying, keep going, you're on the right track.
And Cameron suggests that we can actually cultivate these synchronicities
Oh, really?
by paying attention to our intuition,
Oh.
following our curiosity, and being open to unexpected detours.
So trusting the process even when it takes us in a weird direction.
Exactly. Which brings us to another great concept from the book,
Okay, what's that?
filling the well.
Oh, yeah, filling the well. I love that one.
It's so important.
It's recognizing that we can't keep pouring out creative energy without replenishing it.
Exactly. It's like making deposits into your creative bank account.
I love that analogy.
We need to regularly engage in activities that inspire us, recharge our batteries, and bring us joy.
And those deposits can be anything, right?
Absolutely.
Like spending time in nature, listening to music,
Reading a book.
taking a bath,
Yeah, the key is to find activities that nourish your soul.
and make you feel alive.
And just as importantly, to make those activities a priority.
Schedule them in.
Yes, treat them like important appointments.
I used to feel guilty taking time for myself,
Oh, I know what you mean.
like it was selfish or unproductive.
Right, but Cameron says that's not true. Taking care of our creative selves is essential.
It's like putting on your own oxygen mask first.
Exactly, you can't pour from an empty cup.
And when we neglect our creative needs, we're not only depriving ourselves,
Right.
we're limiting our ability to contribute to the world.
That's such a good point.
And I've definitely experienced that.
Yeah, me too.
When I'm burnt out, my creativity just disappears.
Like a drought.
But when I prioritize self-care and fill my well,
Yeah.
my energy and inspiration come back.
It's like a ripple effect.
It is.
Our creativity flows into our relationships, our work, our communities.
And speaking of community,
Yeah.
Cameron really emphasizes surrounding ourselves with supportive people.
Yes, people who encourage our creative endeavors.
It's so important to have people who believe in us,
Absolutely.
who cheer us on, and provide a safe space to explore our creativity.
Without fear of judgment.
I struggled to find my creative tribe for a long time.
Really?
My family and friends were great,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't quite get it.
I-
And then I found this amazing online community of writers.
Oh, wow.
It was like a breath of fresh air.
I bet.
Suddenly I had people to share my work with,
Yeah.
to bounce ideas off of, and to encourage me when I was feeling stuck.
That's wonderful.
It really is.
Wow.
And it shows how important it is to find your people.
Your tribe.
Yeah, the ones who resonate with your creative spirit.
And there's research that shows belonging to a creative community can actually increase motivation.
Really?
Yeah, and resilience and creative output.
So it's not just about feeling good.
It actually helps us create better work.
It's like having a team of cheerleaders
Exactly.
who understand the ups and downs of the creative process.
They celebrate the wins, they offer support during the challenges.
And they remind us we're not alone.
That's so important.
So we've talked about the importance of community.
Yeah.
But Cameron also acknowledges that there will be times when we feel stuck,
Oh, absolutely.
uninspired, or even resistant to the process.
Because let's face it, creativity isn't always easy.
It's not always sunshine and rainbows.
There are definitely days when it feels like pulling teeth.
So what does Cameron suggest we do when we hit those roadblocks?
Embrace the resistance.
Embrace the resistance.
Yep. Oftentimes when we're feeling blocked, it's because fear is holding us back.
Fear again.
Fear of failure, fear of judgment.
Even fear of our own potential.
That's right. Sometimes the scariest thing is actually allowing ourselves to succeed.
It's like stepping into the unknown.
And that can be paralyzing.
But Cameron reminds us that we're stronger than our fears.
And the rewards of creative expression are worth the risk.
It's about having the courage to show up,
Yes.
to keep creating, even when it's messy or imperfect.
Or uncomfortable.
It's about trusting ourselves.
Yes.
Trusting the process.
And having faith in our own unique journey.
I love that.
Mm.
And Cameron also talks about the importance of self-compassion.
Oh, yeah, that's so important.
It's about treating ourselves with kindness.
Especially when we're struggling.
Exactly. It's so easy to beat ourselves up,
Oh.
especially in a culture that values perfectionism.
We're constantly told to achieve more, do more, be more.
And it's exhausting.
It is. But Cameron reminds us that it's okay to make mistakes.
It's okay to experiment.
It's okay to be messy and imperfect.
It's like giving ourselves permission to be human.
Exactly, to be beginners, to stumble, to try new things without the pressure of having to get it right every time.
And that's so liberating.
It really is. It takes the pressure off and allows us to just enjoy the process.
And you know, when I first started exploring these ideas, I thought of creativity as this serious, solitary thing.
Right, like something you do alone in a studio.
Totally. But the more I learn, the more I realize it's about tapping into that playful energy
Yes, that sense of joy and curiosity.
that we often lose as adults.
It's about rediscovering our inner child.
Exactly. And when we allow ourselves to play, to experiment,
To approach our creative endeavors with a light heart.
that's when the magic happens.
And that magic can be contagious.
Oh, totally.
When we embrace our own creativity, we inspire others to do the same.
We create a world that's more vibrant, more expressive.
More full of possibilities.
So as we continue exploring the artist's way, what's resonating most with you?
What really stands out to me is this idea of recovering a sense of play.
Oh, tell me more about that.
As adults, we get so caught up in responsibility and productivity.
And meeting expectations.
Yeah, we forget how to just have fun.
I know, I used to feel guilty about doing things just for the pure joy of it.
Right. But Cameron reminds us that play is not a luxury.
It's a necessity.
It's essential for our well-being, our creativity, our connection to our authentic selves.
And there's research to support this.
There is. Studies have shown that play can reduce stress, boost creativity, and even improve problem-solving skills.
It's like giving our brains permission to
And
relax.
to wander, to make new connections.
And in that space of playfulness, new ideas emerge.
Exactly. And Cameron encourages us to reclaim that sense of play in whatever way feels good to us.
Okay, so like what kinds of things?
It could be anything: dancing, singing, playing games,
Spending time in nature.
building something with your hands.
Just letting your imagination run wild.
Exactly. It's about giving ourselves permission to be silly, to be spontaneous, to be curious.
To approach life with a sense of wonder.
And the more we do that, the more we unlock that creative energy that's within us all. It's like tapping into a fountain of inspiration,
That's always there.
waiting to be discovered.
And anyone can access it.
Exactly. Creativity is not a special gift for a select few.
It's for everyone.
It's a universal human capacity that we can all nurture and cultivate.
And the artist's way shows us how.
It's a roadmap for uncovering that hidden treasure within.
So as we move towards the final part of our deep dive,
Sure.
I'm curious, what are some insights or practices that you're finding helpful?
One of the things that keeps coming back to me is this idea of recovering a sense of play.
Oh yeah, tell me more about that.
As adults, we often get so caught up in responsibilities and productivity that we forget how to simply have fun.
I totally get that. I used to feel guilty about taking time for myself to do things just for the pure enjoyment of it.
But Cameron reminds us that play isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It's essential for our well-being, our creativity, and our connection to our true selves.
And the amazing thing is that research backs this up. Studies have shown that engaging in playful activities can reduce stress, boost creativity, and even improve our problem-solving skills.
It's like giving our brains permission to relax, to wander, to make new connections. And in that space of playfulness, new ideas and insights can emerge.
Exactly. And Cameron encourages us to reclaim that sense of play in whatever way feels authentic to us. Whether it's dancing, singing, playing games, building something with our hands, spending time in nature, or simply allowing ourselves to daydream and let our imaginations run wild.
It's about giving ourselves permission to be silly, to be spontaneous, to be curious, and to approach life with a sense of wonder. And the more we do that, the more we unlock that creative energy that's within us all. It's like tapping into a fountain of inspiration that's always there waiting to be discovered.
And the beautiful thing is that this fountain is available to everyone, regardless of age, background, or experience level.
That's right. Creativity is not a rare gift reserved for a select few. It's a universal human capacity that can be nurtured and cultivated with intention and care.
And The Artist's Way offers us a roadmap for that journey. It provides tools and practices that can help us clear the mental clutter, find inspiration, overcome our fears, and tap into the wellspring of creativity that resides within each of us.
It's about recognizing that we are all artists in our own unique ways, and that when we embrace our creativity, we not only enrich our own lives, but also contribute to a world that's more vibrant, more expressive, and more full of possibilities.
And on that note, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll explore some final thoughts from The Artist's Way and offer some practical tips for incorporating these ideas into your own creative journey. There's this one quote from The Artist's Way that I just keep coming back to.
Really?
It's where Cameron writes, "Leap and the net will appear."
Oh, yeah. I love that one.
It's such a powerful metaphor for the creative process, right?
It really is. It speaks to the importance of trust.
Mhm.
That willingness to take a risk even when we don't know what's going to happen.
We can get so caught up in overthinking and planning,
Right, we're waiting for the perfect moment.
but creativity needs that spontaneity.
Yeah, that willingness to just jump in.
It's like jumping off a diving board.
Yes.
You have to trust that the water's going to be there.
And sometimes the best things come from those leaps of faith
Totally. When we surrender to the unknown.
and let go of control.
And you know what? This idea of leaping,
Yeah.
it's not just metaphorical. There's actually neuroscience behind it.
Oh, wow.
Studies have shown that when we do creative things, we activate the parts of our brain that are associated with risk-taking
Uh-huh.
and novelty-seeking.
Interesting.
So our brains actually crave those creative leaps.
That makes sense.
It's like we're wired for adventure,
For exploration.
for pushing beyond our limits.
And The Artist's Way encourages us to do just that.
It reminds us it's okay to make mistakes,
To experiment.
to be messy.
To trust that the net will appear.
And sometimes those mistakes turn out to be the most valuable part.
Oh, totally.
They lead us in unexpected directions and spark new ideas.
They help us discover hidden strengths.
I remember when I was working on this writing project
Yeah.
and I just hit a wall.
I hate when that happens.
I know, I was totally stuck.
So what did you do?
I decided to try something completely different.
Okay.
I started playing around with visual art,
Oh, wow.
which I hadn't done in years.
And what happened?
I stumbled upon an idea that totally transformed my writing project.
That's amazing.
It was so unexpected.
That's a perfect example of the power of cross-pollination.
Oh, yeah.
When we expose ourselves to different forms of creativity,
Like music or dance,
or even just spending time in nature,
it opens up our minds.
it creates new connections.
And sparks new ideas.
It's like fertilizing our creative soil.
I love that. And the more we do that,
Yeah.
the more our creative gardens can flourish.
And that brings us to another key message from The Artist's Way.
What's that?
Creativity is not a fixed trait.
Right.
It's a dynamic process
Something we can nurture.
and cultivate throughout our lives.
It's like a muscle that gets stronger with use.
And the more we embrace our creativity,
Yeah.
the more joy and purpose we experience.
It's about tapping into that sense of connection.
That makes life so meaningful.
And as we've seen, The Artist's Way gives us the tools to do just that.
We've talked about morning pages,
Artist
reframing negative thoughts,
the importance of community,
and those leaps of faith.
how lead to breakthroughs.
But the most important takeaway,
Yeah.
creativity is not a luxury.
It's a necessity,
It's essential for our well-being,
our growth,
our connection to ourselves and the world.
and it's a gift that's available to everyone.
The Artist's Way helps us uncover that hidden treasure.
That's within us all. So as we wrap up our deep dive into The Artist's Way,
Yeah.
what is one small step you can take today?
To nurture your creative spirit.
It could be anything.
Pick up a pen and doodle.
Listen to some music.
Take a walk in nature.
Just daydream for a few
The
minutes.
key is to start somewhere
Then to make a choice to honor your creativity.
and trust the journey.
Leap and the net will appear.
Thanks for joining us.
Keep creating, everyone.